Hey, we're going to spotlight Mason McTavish today. We're going to talk about who I think is going to be traded either before the deadline or maybe this offseason from the Anaheim Ducks. And we're going to talk about the last couple of wins and tonight's game against Boston. Stick around. All right, hey guys, welcome back to Ducks Hockey and More. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to go down, smash the like button, subscribe. Let's blow this channel up and get it going. So, listen, I reached out to some of the subscribers. I said, listen, what do you guys, any ideas, something you want me to talk about, anything specific, let me know. Well, I did get some responses. And so we're going to start doing a little bit of a player profile or player spotlights, if you will. And we're just going to go through some Anaheim Ducks and go over their stats and skills and attributes and what they bring to the team, what negative things they have, things of that nature, if they have any negative things. And then there was also a request to talk about just signings and trades and who out there and also something about coaching. Who do I think would be a better coach for the Anaheim Ducks? Because there is no doubt that I hate Dallas Eakins and I think he should be fired. And he will be. He's not going to be an Anaheim. Even if he doesn't get fired this season, he's not coming back, guys. He's not coming back. So, as of right now, this video, I'm not going to be talking about any kind of coaches or anything yet because I still don't have an idea of who's available. There's going to be some firings and some people will come available in the offseason. As we get closer to the end of the season, we'll know. And then the offseason, of course. So we'll go into that to a different video. But we're going to talk about Mason McTavish. So let's dive right into Mason. So here's some quick info on Mason, okay? This guy is money, okay? I've talked about Mason McTavish briefly before, just in passing in videos. This guy is money, okay? I can't say enough about him. He's the 2021 number 3 overall pick for the Anaheim Ducks, okay? And I think when you look at it in terms of that draft, the Ducks landed the best possible player they could have gotten, okay? Mason McTavish is a seasoned veteran at only 19. He's been in the World Juniors multiple times, played in the OHL. He's played in the Memorial Cup Championship. He's played in the Olympics. This guy won gold with Canada, okay, 2 years ago. He went to the Olympics representing Canada. He's played now for the Anaheim Ducks. This is his first full season. The guy is money. So let's just jump into Big Mac, okay? Big Mac, I just talked about it. He's played in the World Juniors. He won it in Canada a couple years ago. His stats, his physical stats, he's 6 foot, okay? He's 6 foot. He's 213 pounds. He plays the center position. He reminds me of, I don't want to say Ryan Getzlaf, but he reminds me of just not a specific player so much, but he's the type of center that every team needs and wants. And that's why I think the Ducks got a gem out of Mason McTavish. Even though they didn't get that first pick overall, which they wanted so bad in 21, they got arguably the best player out of that draft. So he's a center. He's 19 years old guy. That's the key thing here. He's only 19. So Mason McTavish, big center, big body, can bang and make you pay if he really wants to. And keep in mind, he's only 19, so he's going to get bigger and stronger and more powerful out there. And it's going to be really hard to get other players to get him off the puck. So for winning battles and making those plays that you need to as a center, Mason McTavish, man. Okay, so here's some quick, year after year, only the last couple of years, things that he's done. So this year currently, okay, 22-23 with the Anaheim Ducks, 40 games played. He's got 9 goals, 17 assists. Now he's a minus 12, but that's because we have such a horrible team. Okay, he would be a plus player if it wasn't for how bad we play. But he's only a minus 12 as of right now, so he's got 26 points on the year. He is second in rookie scoring this year behind Matty Beniers. He's caught up recently because he's had a couple of back-to-back games where he put up a bunch of points. And so the race is on for the Calder, baby. The race is on. I think Matty Beniers right now is hands down the favorite, but if McTavish keeps playing the way he's played in the last couple games, there's going to be a battle for that Calder. Going back, okay, he played in the World Juniors, in the U20 Juniors in 21-22. 7 games played in that tournament, 8 goals, 9 assists. That's 17 points, folks, in only 7 games. You heard me, right? 17 points in 7 games. Yes, it's the World Juniors, but that's the international stage for all the young players, under 20 in this case, going at it. All the NHL prospects pretty much, okay, at that time. Unbelievable. He also played in the Olympics for Canada in 21-22. Now, there was 5 games in that tournament, and he only had 1 assist, so it wasn't a huge, epic, holy crap. But keep in mind, this is from a currently 19-year-old. He was 18 at the time, playing with men internationally in the Olympics. There's a lot to be said about that. This kid is good, and he's only 19. And then in 21-22, he also, in the OHL, he led his team to the Memorial Cup. He got traded at one point from, I think, the Peterborough Petes to the Hamilton Bulldogs. But either way, in just 5 games in the Memorial Cup, this is in the tournament, okay, the playoffs of that. 5 games, he had 6 goals, 2 assists, 8 points, and a +1 in those 5 games. And this is the playoffs of that, in the Memorial Cup playoffs. So, listen, this kid is money. I can't wait to see him wearing that C. Okay, that's my prediction, Mason McTavish. And because of his stature, because of his professionalism, because of his experience internationally and professionally already at 19, and just the way he carries himself on and off the ice, he's a captain. He's a captain. He's totally going to be our next captain. And I don't think there's anybody on the Anaheim Ducks team that's going to be there long term, okay, that I would want to see wearing the C, okay, other than maybe Cam Fowler. And Cam Fowler is getting towards the end of his career. Will he be a Duck for much longer? There's a lot of speculation and question marks in regard to that. But if you take out the veterans, okay, that might stick around for another couple of years or something like that, who are you left with? Well, a bunch of kids, okay? And Troy Terry, even though he's worked really hard to get where he's at, he's not the vocal leader in the that you really want. Trevor Zegras, as much as everybody loves Trevor Zegras, me included, he's young and he's fun and he's a kind of a goofy guy, not leadership quality, okay? He might be someday, but right now he's not. Mason McTavish is. So you watch. Mason McTavish is going to be the future captain. He is going to be a restricted free agent at the end of the 24-25 season. So we've got a couple more years of Mason McTavish on a entry-level contract, which is great because he produces and we don't have to pay him that much. Okay, so his salary is low, which gives us lots more room to sign guys like Troy Terry and Trevor Zegras. We'll talk about that. But he'll be a restricted free agent at the end of his entry-level contract. He'll be 22 years old at that time, and he's going to get paid, especially if he continues to get better and better, which he will. So he's got great hands. He's got a great shot. We've seen that in the last couple games, and he's just getting better. You can see it in his game. The confidence is building, and those hands and that shot and that professional presence out there and knowing what to do with the puck and being patient and calm too at times. And it's quite impressive to watch. So he's a big time winner. Ducks should build around him. If you're going to build a team around anybody right now for the Anaheim Ducks, you build around Mason McTavish. There you go. Okay, let's go on to the next topic. I wanted to talk about, per my subscribers that have requested it, free agent signings and things like that. I don't know exactly yet who the Ducks are going to be able to kind of go after and who I think they should go after. I'm going to have to do some more research about that. I do want to touch on Anaheim Duck players that I think are probably going to get moved by the deadline or maybe in the offseason. There's a couple in here that have longer contracts. They still have 2 or 3 years left on their contracts, so we may not see them move this year. It might be next year. It just depends on what Pat Verbeek is offered, I guess. So we'll see what happens. So here's some players that I think are going to get moved either this year before the deadline, in the offseason, or possibly next year. And I'll touch on which ones I think are going to be which. But Max Comtois. I like Max Comtois. He's going to be a restricted free agent at the end of the year. Okay, he's got a $2 million cap hit. So for somebody who produces and has potential to be a lot better, I think Max Comtois is going to be dealt. And here's why. He's a good player. We took him in the first round, okay? In fact, did I write it down? I didn't write it down. But we took him in the first round when we drafted him. He has a lot of upside, but we haven't seen it. We just get little glimpses of it here and there. So I feel like he's been given lots of opportunity to, make a name for himself and show what he's capable of. And he just hasn't really done it on a consistent basis. So in my opinion, Pat Verbeek, this is just my prediction and opinion, but Pat Verbeek will probably include him. He might be a standalone here, take Max Comtois or whatever, but I have a feeling he's going to be part of a package deal. Thrown in with another player for another team's whatever, first rounder and a prospect, whatever it might be. But I think he's going to be dealt. I really do. Max Comtois, I like the kid, but we need somebody who can be more consistent and whatnot, especially for a first rounder. But a change of scenery for Max Comtois might help him. So next one up, John Klingberg. John Klingberg was signed on a 1-year, $7 million deal. A lot of people after that signing were scratching their heads, including myself, but at the same time I was happy about it because of his upside offensively. Haven't seen enough of it. I have seen a little bit of it, especially last game when he got that overtime winner. But John Klingberg's not going to be a Duck. I can't see Pat Verbeek keeping him. He wants to play for a contender. I know that. He wants that big contract. We really need him as Ducks. We need him to produce and get some points and start doing what he did in the last game so that more teams are interested in him by the deadline. So Klingberg, he'll be gone. I can't see him staying. Kevin Shattenkirk, there's another defenseman that will probably and most likely get moved. He is a restricted free agent. An unrestricted free agent at the end of the season as well. His cap hit is $3.9 million. And you got to get something for him. Move him. We're not going anywhere this year, so you move him. You're gonna somebody who needs a depth defenseman to add that veteran presence. On the blue line is going to want a Kevin Shattenkirk. A lot of Ducks fans aren't a big Shattenkirk fan. I don't dislike him. I think he has some issues sometimes where you're just like, what the heck? He had a really good year last year. Really good year offensively last year. Not so much this year. So that's kind of hurt his value, I think, a little bit too, but he will be moved. So Shattenkirk will be gone. Another one that more than likely will be moved is Dmitry Kulikov. We got him in the offseason from Minnesota. He carries a $2.25 million cap hit right now, so pretty low. He's been moved around a lot in his career, and that's usually not a good sign. He's a good depth defenseman to have as in your bottom 6D. To, shore up the blue line and have that depth, but that's about it. You know what I mean? He has moments where he looks really good and he has moments where you're like, So he'll be moved. Verbeek is going to want to get something for him because he's an unrestricted free agent after this year. So we'll get something for him. Here's another one that has been a Duck for quite a long time, Jakob Silfverberg. Okay, Jakob Silfverberg, he's got a $5.25 million cap hit. It's a lot of money for a guy that doesn't produce anymore. Now, Silfverberg is an amazing two-way player. He's kind of like a Sammy Paulson, okay? That's when I think of Silfverberg, I think of Sammy Paulson. And so I like that about him. He used to, in the first, we'll say 4 or 5 years that he was a Duck, his shot was pretty impressive. He had a great wrister. He would pick them corners, especially on shootouts and on breakaways and one-on-one. So Silfverberg has the abilities, but I think at his age now, he's in his 30s, he's just slowing down and he's not that dynamic player that he was when we got him for the Bobby Ryan trade thing. So I think Silfverberg will get moved. Silfverberg he'll be a UFA, an unrestricted free agent at the end of the 23-24 season. So he still has another year, okay, to go. So there's a chance he could stay. Just kind of depends on, who wants him and what Verbeek's offers are like. So we'll see. He might end up playing one more year with us, but we'll see. But that's Jakob Silfverberg. I have a feeling he's going to get moved at the trade deadline or maybe even next year, because we still got that year. So, anyways, we'll see. Another one, Adam Henrique. Adam Henrique is one of my favorite Ducks. Okay, great veteran guy, can play center and can play the wing. He's a solid player. He's got a good amount of goals. I think he's got like 10 or 11 goals this year. So he's not just some schmuck. He actually is a productive player. Now, he does make pretty good money, 5.825 cap hit. So he's making almost $6 million a year. That's a lot of money for a guy that's not really putting up too much. It's kind of like, and he's aging. So his deal is he will be a UFA at the end of 23-24 as well, same as Silverberg. So what do? Do you keep him one more year? In my opinion, you do. You keep him into next year. We're still rebuilding, and he is a veteran presence that will help these young guys and help develop them and bring them along and show them how it's done type thing. I think he's worth keeping. We have a lot of cap space, lots of cap space. So just so you know, by the way, Anaheim's cap space is $26.8 million currently as we speak right now. So they've got a ton of room to play with, tons. I think you keep Henrique, but Verbeek might have other plans for him. Don't want him to go. John Gibson. Here's one I don't want to see go either, but John Gibson carries a lot of weight when it comes to trading. He's an amazing goaltender. He's basically in his prime. He's still in his prime right now. He's 29 years old. He's got a $6.4 million cap hit. So the old Bob Murray days signed him to a pretty good deal. That contract ends in the 26-27 season. So we've got him for another 3 years, basically. Okay. So, I know John deserves better. Okay. I'm sure he wants to win, and staying with the Ducks during a rebuild for another 3 years, maybe that's not the best thing, because by the time that contract ends, guess what? John Gibson's going to be at the end of his career. So what do you do with a guy like that? I don't know. Part of me says trade him, get some great assets for him, get a huge haul for a Gibson, and move on. Or if he's willing, keep him and ride him, because he is an elite goaltender. And when he has good defense playing in front of him, okay, which we will have someday, but when he has good defense playing in front of him, his stats will come way up and we'll start winning more games, and he'll look better than he does now. His numbers are not a real good representation of John Gibson's play. He is an elite goaltender and has stood on his head many a time for the Ducks and won games for them. So John Gibson, we'll see what happens with him. I have a feeling we'll probably keep him throughout this season, and if anything big comes up that Verbeek can't say no to in the offseason, they'll package him off and get rid of him in that way. But I have a feeling he'll be a Duck for the rest of the season, and it'll be the offseason when you start to hear his name popping up more. Here's one, Max Jones. Max Jones is another one of those guys. He's a young guy, has a lot of upside, especially when he was drafted, but hasn't really shown it, right? Kind of like Max Comtois. He only carries a 1.285 cap hit, so it's not like he's breaking the bank. I don't think Max Jones is going to be a Duck moving forward. He is a restricted free agent, but at the 23-24 season, so he still has another year left. Verbeek, for that low a price, might just keep Max Jones. He might just say, screw it, keep you around, see what you can do, and if next year he blows up and has a great year, maybe he'll get that extension. But he was a first rounder, so he has that potential, you know what I mean? It's in him, but again, maybe he's just not cut out to be a Duck in our system, or, and a change of scenery will help Max Jones. We'll see. But I kind of hope he sticks around through next season and they keep him, just because I want to see if he can maintain it, be a Duck for long term, you know what I mean? But he's going to have a good year, a breakout year, if you will. So Max Jones, one to watch, might get moved. Another one I'm not too sure about is Simon Benoit. Simon Benoit has really earned his place on the Ducks roster on the blue line. He has worked his ass off to get to where he's at. What can you say? The guy, he's still learning and he's still developing. He makes mistakes, but at the same time, I love seeing his open ice hits, those hip checks and those open ice hits. I love that about him. I need more of that from him. And there's times where I like how he'll jump up on the play, and sometimes he's down below the goal line in the offensive zone, racing around. So I like him a lot. I think he's a great bottom six or bottom two, I should say, third pairing defenseman. I think because I think he has a lot of upside to him, but it'll be interesting to see what happens because he's going to be a restricted free agent at the end of this year. Restricted, so we have the last say, but I don't know if Verbeek wants to move forward with him, considering the fact that we have so many defensive prospects coming up. Man, do we have a deep prospect pool on the D side. Something else to consider with signings, okay, too specific, okay, they're currently Ducks. They are going to be at the end of their contract when this season ends, are Troy Terry and Trevor Zegras. Now, I've talked about Mason McTavish and how you got to build around Mason, right? Well, these two are part of that, okay, building around. You have to keep them around. Pat Verbeek cannot lose these guys, and he won't. He's not an idiot. Troy Terry's an amazing player. He's deserved a raise. He's going to get one. I think he's only making, I don't even think he's making $2 million a year. I'd have to go look at Cap Friendly. And and by the way, all my cap space, all from Cap Friendly, just so you know. Troy Terry's going to get a big raise in the offseason. You watch. Trevor Zegras, here's another kid, okay? We all know how good he is and how skilled he is, and his hands are money. And when he's given the opportunity and he takes the opportunity to shoot the puck, he's got a hell of a shot too. So Zegras is going to get a big pay raise as well. The thing about these two guys, you guys have to remember, it's not like they're going to go out and make like Austin Matthews money, Klingberg money, Carlson money. No, okay, not going to happen. $4 to $5 million a year, maybe, okay, is what we're going to offer them. And it's not going to be super long term, maybe 3, 4, maybe 5 years. And it's mostly because you don't want to overdo it. They're still young and they still have to prove themselves. Okay, so yes, they deserve to get paid, and they will, but it's not going to be huge, huge, huge. It'll be huge, huge, huge when they're consistently putting up 30, 40 goals, 50 goals. You know what I mean? They're like money out there every night. Okay, then you'll see really big raises. So anyways, we will have to re-sign those guys in the offseason, so it'll be interesting to see what money they get and what kind of term they get. So listen, there you go. I will get more into who I think the Ducks might go after in the offseason. I think before trade deadline-wise, typically you don't get a lot of impact players from other teams. You get picks in the next year's draft or future drafts. So we'll see what happens. Players, it's going to be a whole different team come the end of this year as we start to dump off contracts and players to other teams, and we're going to get a lot of draft prospects as well as draft picks, I should say, this year, just like we did last year. Okay, so watch for that. It's going to be another big offseason and a big trade deadline moves going all over the place for the Ducks. So let's get into the last bit of this. Thanks for sticking around, by the way. If you're still here, go down, subscribe, smash the like button, blow this channel up, okay? So finally, we're going to touch on just their overall performance as of right now. They played 2 games, the last 2 games, and they won. John Gibson stood on his head against Dallas, okay? We won 2-0. He got his first shutout of the year. What a game. I did not expect that. Going into that game, I was so like, here we go. We're going to get just embarrassed all over the place. Well, we didn't. We didn't get embarrassed. It was actually a really good game. It was one of those games where the Ducks did a really good job at, I don't know, they allowed a lot of shots. I think the shot total in that game was, did I write it down? I didn't. Look, I don't know what the shot total was for the Ducks. It's never good enough, by the way. Ducks shot totals have to come up. But shots against is where we really, really, really struggle badly. But Gibson had to make 35 saves in that game. And there were some pretty good opportunities and chances for Dallas. It wasn't like it was all from the outside and he could see everything and that kind of thing. He did a really good job standing on his head and making big saves. Mason McTavish, a goal and an assist in that game. Ducks got both goals in the first, and then they held them off. Surprisingly, held them down to nothing. I mean, Dallas Stars, high-flying Dallas Stars, got blanked by the Anaheim Ducks. So that was a good game for us. The next game, which was the last game we played, was against the Sharks. Like, here's another team where I go, okay, the Sharks are coming into our house. We need to spank them. Absolutely obliterate them. There's no reason why we can't. We won. We won in overtime, 5-4. It was a great game. Okay, we were down 2-0 in the first, and I was just like, oh, here we go. You know, we had a couple of great games or one really good game, and you guys are going to choke on this one. Well, they didn't. They came back, and I really liked the resiliency I saw out there. They settled things down and started playing Ducks hockey. Now, it was kind of a back and forth game. It was an exciting game to watch. It really was. The announcers, the TV announcers, it was an ESPN broadcast that were basically talking about how exciting it was, you know, to see all the goals and whatnot. And it was. Big Mac attack. So McTavish had 2 goals and 2 assists in that game. That's 6 points in 2 games. 6 points in 2 games. He looked so good in that game against San Jose. Zegras had a goal, great shot in the corner. Klingberg had the overtime winner and also an assist. So he had a goal and an assist, 2 points. Strome had a goal. Terry was limited to not much. He got an assist, but Troy Terry, as of late, has been kind of shut down. I think teams are starting to really put more emphasis on Troy Terry because they know how good he is, and they know if they give him any open ice and allow him to skate through the middle or whatever, he's got a wicked shot and he's going to burn you. So teams are starting to recognize that and step up on Troy Terry. So he's going to have to figure out a way around that. He will. Troy Terry's a really good player. Penalty kill still looks good. We were 2 for 2. This is against San Jose, by the way. Power play, not so much. We did get a power play goal in the Dallas game. Mason McTavish, actually, but nothing in the San Jose game. 0 for 4. Shots against, so still allowing a lot of shots. I think it was 40-some-odd shots that the Sharks had on Gibson, and the Ducks were like at 29 or something like that. So a big difference, but I want something you need to think about when it comes to shot attempts and what's recorded as a shot attempt, okay? Ducks had 29, but the San Jose Sharks had 17 block shots. So if they block 17 shots that the Ducks are taking, disregard all the shots that are just you miss the net entirely, right? So those 29 shots on goal, that's where the goalie had to make an actual save. And there were 17 blocks that the San Jose Sharks had to make. So it was pretty even is what I'm trying to get at. So shot-wise, Ducks did a good job, okay? And that's why it ended up being 5-4. They scored goals. They didn't have only 20-something shots, and then, you know what I mean? It was 29 shots. San Jose had to make a bunch of blocks. You know, so it was a really good game for the Ducks. The kind of game you need to see more consistently. It's consistency, folks. We got to have it. So, here, listen. Boston tonight, best team in the NHL, okay, is in Honda Center tonight. It's Sunday. Huge game. Ducks got to freaking get 2 points. We got to get 2 points. We beat Dallas. We can beat the Boston Bruins. We can do it. I know we can. It's going to be a tough one, though, because Boston is pretty good. Hampus Lindholm coming back to Anaheim. Be interesting to see him, playing against the Ducks. But hey, listen. Thanks for watching, guys. Love your comments. I will respond to them. Go down, subscribe, smash the like button. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.